Hello everyone and welcome once again to Checkpoint. We thank you so much for sharing our videos, for liking them, for commenting on them, for asking your questions. For all this you do, we are exceedingly glad and grateful. Thank you for all you do. Because of what you do, the message is going farther and faster, and we are so glad. Today on Checkpoint, we'll be looking at a very important topic. Join me. Alright, today on Checkpoint, our topic is key things you must discuss with the person you love before you marry. Key things you must discuss with the one you love before you marry. A lot of young people get so flustered with the issue of love, the butterflies in the stomach, and all the sweet sensations that come with being in love, and they forget to discuss very key and important things before they do get married. And today I'm going to help you discover some of those very key things that you need to discuss before you enter into the institution called marriage. I would like you to go with me. Are you ready for this ride? All right, so number one thing you need to discuss with the person you love before you get married is very important. That is your relationship with God and the service to God. Your relationship with God and service to God. Many people assume that because everyone is church going, that they must have a relationship with God and they must serve God. But this is a very serious error and aberration, because you need to sit down and discuss how far you are willing to go with God. How many of you remember the Pharaoh of Egypt and how he related with the people of Israel when they were about to leave to serve their God? He said unto them, oh, when you want to serve your God, leave your livestock, leave your ox, leave your cows, leave everything you have and go and serve God. And he did this because he wanted them to serve God without their substance. But when God wants you to serve him, he wants you not just to serve him with your substance, but to serve him with your children, your family, your entirety, everything that belongs to you. He wants you to serve him with it. He said, okay, no, since you want to take your livestock, you want to sacrifice to your God, all right, drop your children, keep the women and the children behind. How will someone keep their present and future behind? So it's important that you discuss this so that you don't get married to somebody who will be like the Pharaoh of Egypt and demand that you leave your children behind, and demand that you leave your possessions behind, and demand that your service to God or your relationship with God does not have anything to do with the things that belong to you or the persons who belong in your life. So it's important that you discuss this before you go into marriage. Discuss how far you will be willing to go in that relationship. Discuss how far discuss your service to God. Are both of you willing to serve God at all costs, or are you only going to serve God at convenience? Are you going to serve God when things are okay, or will service to God become a permanent feature of your life? These are things you need to sit down to discuss with the person that you love. Number two thing you need to discuss with this person that you love, they are your beliefs, your values, and your principles. Your beliefs, your values, and your principles. It is important that you discuss these things with the person that you want to marry. It is important that the person that you love understands your beliefs, your values, and your principles. The fact that he loves you or the fact that she loves you does not mean that they will automatically understand what your beliefs are, what your values are, and what your principles are. Everyone should have principles that guide him or her. Everyone should have beliefs and values, things that you can say, these are my boundaries in life. These are my set of moral beliefs. As a matter of fact, principles are ethical goal statements that drive your decisions and drive your actions. Let me say it again. Principles are ethical goal statements that drive your decisions and they drive your actions. It's important that you have principles that guide your life. You see, where there are no boundaries, everything is allowed. Where there are no boundaries, everything can go. And your life cannot be a life that is without boundaries. So it's important that you understand these things, because values drive your behavior. Values decide what you do or what means something to you. All right? So it's important that you understand what drives you. You see, one thing about values and beliefs, that they're like the small mitochondria of a cell. They are like small flames of fire that eventually burst out into flames. If we abide by our beliefs, if we abide by our values, if we abide by our principles, it will help us to have great lives ahead. There are many people who live life without value, life without beliefs, life without principles, and because they don't have boundaries in their life that guide them, anything is permitted in that relationship. Everything is allowed in that marriage, and that is a very wrong way to live. So sit down, talk about a few of your beliefs. So it's important that this is very key. You have to discuss it, because imagine for 1 second that you and somebody eventually get married and both of you have opposite belief systems or opposite value systems or opposite principles in life. There was a case of a couple. They came to a point in their marriage and they couldn't have children at that time, so it was a lot of problem, and they discovered that the reason for not having children was because of the husband. This husband had issues medically that would not allow him to be a father. So he now said, together with his family, his mother and his sister, now instructed the wife that the wife should go ahead and sleep with his own biological brother in order to have a child for the family. According to them, that it was okay, even from their tradition, for her to go get pregnant with the brother's seed and then give birth to a child for the brother. Since this brother was incapacitated, it was okay for his brother to help him have children. Just imagine that. And this lady said, it is my belief, my value, my principle that I am to marry one man and not get involved sexually with any other person. It became a whole lot of problem. The woman insisted, no, this is my value, this is my belief. Funny enough, both of them, we are Christians, so both of them still go to church, but this one had a belief or a value system that permitted his wife to go and sleep with his brother, and she on her own side said, no, I was not raised like this, and the Bible I read does not tell me that. And they also had scriptures to support what they were saying. Eventually this marriage split into parts, and then they went both ways. The man went and married another woman who was willing to do what the first woman refused to do. So the challenge is this: who would you say is right? I'll leave that for you. It is something you discuss in the course of this video. You can comment what you think about who was right between the man and his wife. But you see, what happened in this situation is that their value systems and their principles were different, and because of that, they couldn't stand. The marriage couldn't thrive. So it's something that you don't want to take for granted. All right, number 3 key thing you need to discuss with the one you love before you get married is this: the love languages. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the love languages because I already have a video to that effect. In the comment section of this video, I'm going to be posting a link that will help you to watch in full the video on the love languages. But for the sake of this new video, I'm going to explain to you what love languages are. Love languages are things, whether verbal or non-verbal ways, through which you express love to your spouse. They are both verbal and non-verbal ways through which you express love to your spouse. They are the language that your spouse sees or hears or understands and then feels loved. So I said something about love language in that video. I said it is important that you speak the language of your spouse, not your own language. What does this mean? There are 5 types of love languages according to Gary Chapman. And the first love language is words of affirmation. Words of affirmation simply means words of encouragement, admiration, words that inspire, encourage the person that you love. All right? The second love language is what we call quality time. This love language simply expresses itself by spending time with the person you love, being with them. A lot of people see love or feel love or know love when they see the person they love, have special times and stay with them in a place or hang out with them or just stay with them wherever they are. All right, so that is the quality time. The next one is called gifts. Gifts kind of love language, this person feels love, this person knows love or experiences love when gifts are given to him or her. When we talk about physical touch, in physical touch, this person, he or she feels loved when there is a physical touch a pat on the back, a hand on the cheek, an encouraging embrace, and even romance and sex itself. So these are the ways that this person feels loved. And the final one is acts of service. In acts of service, he or she feels loved when you do something for him or her. Maybe you helped him to wash his car, or you helped her to throw away the trash, or you helped her to clean the house, or you helped him to wash his clothes. So these are the things that makes him or her feel loved. So it's important that you understand what these love languages are. And it's also important that you speak to the person what their own love language is. Let me give an example. Assuming that the love language of the one you love is acts of service, and you give this person physical gifts, okay? You give this person gifts. At the end of the day, he will still not feel loved. She will still not feel loved, because what their own love language is simply acts of service, not gifts. So the person may get a gift but still not be satisfied. The person may get a gift but still not be happy, because it is acts of service that he or she truly requires as a love language. So sit down and discuss this love language. Ask him, what is your love language? How do you feel loved? What do I do to make you feel loved? And from these 5, you'll be able to know which one works best for the person you want to get married to. And of course, it's important that I state categorically here that the physical touch, the issue as it concerns romance and sexual intercourse, should definitely wait till after you get married. There are a lot of advantages to not engaging in premarital sex before you get married. All right. Number 4 key thing you need to discuss before you get married to the one that you love is finances. This financial matter has caused a lot of problems in many homes. Money. The Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And truly, a lot of people have gone so far in order to get money, in order to get more money or keep the money. They have killed their spouses, they have treated their spouses wrongly, and some have even lost their life, all because of money. So it's important that we understand, why is money such an issue? You know, the struggle of who holds the money, who keeps the money, who makes more money, who handles the money, who does the spending. All of this causes a lot of problems in marriage, and we want to see how best can we make sure that these things don't happen, these issues don't happen. Number 1, it's important that you understand your income. I understand income can change over time. I understand that you can get a better job, God can bless you, you know, income can change over time, but it's important that you understand, that you agree on how to keep your money, who keeps the money, or how do we keep the money. There are different kinds of accounting when it comes to family couples. There is one we call the self-accounting, the second one is called joint account, and the third one is joint accounting. In self-account, everybody keeps their own money separate. So in that kind of marriage, there is my money and there is his money. And we do not usually recommend that kind of accounting for a couple, because when you get married, you're supposed to share, you're supposed to be together. The second one is called joint account. In joint account, both couples put their money together and they spend it together. There are terms and caveats that may help them decide how they spend their money, or how they withdraw money, or who spends the money, or who is able to access the money. All right. Then there is joint accounting. In joint accounting, the couple have separate accounts. Their monies are in separate accounts, but each other is accountable to the partner. Let me give an example. Maybe husband Mike has 500,000 in his account, and wife Cynthia has 100,000 in her account. Even though husband Mike has his own account and he has 500,000 in his account, before he spends the money, he's able to communicate with wife Cynthia and say, see, I'm about to embark on this project, I'm about to spend so and so money. I know I have my personal account, I know I have rights to it, but I'm letting you know because you are my wife. This is joint accounting. The accounts, the monies are not together in the same account, but there is transparency between them. Now, both the joint account and the joint accounting are both recommended in a marriage. So you should sit down and discuss with yourself. Are we going to have joint accounts? Or are we going to do joint accounting? Whichever one you choose to do is okay. We understand as marriage counselors that many marriages are different. We understand that people are equally different. The backgrounds from which they came are different, and equally the experiences they have in life are different. And because they are different, we cannot insist on a particular method of financial accounting in the marriage, because people are simply different. So whichever one works for you and keeps you happy together and makes you feel united and makes you trust each other the more, please go ahead and practice it between the joint account and the joint accounting. It is important that you let your wife know what you're doing and you let your husband know what you are doing. So both of you should discuss this before marriage. It will save you a whole lot of drama within the marriage. Number 5 thing you need to discuss with the one you love before you get married is what I call the past life and secrets. Your past life and secrets. We all are coming from somewhere and we are going somewhere. Everyone has a past, some more dirtier than others, some better than others, but everyone has a past. So if you have a past that you think has something to do with your future, your present with this person you're going to get married to, it's important to say it early. Whether you think, in fact, as a matter of fact, whether you think is going to affect or whether you think it's not going to affect, open up, because it will save you a lot of explanation in the future of that relationship. So please let him know what has happened concerning your relationships in the past, concerning your life in the past. If you have a criminal record, let him know. If you have aborted children in the past, let him know. Let her know. Let her know what you've done in the past. Let her know the relationships you've been with, people you have been with in the past, because this will help you avoid a lot of explanations and mistrust and suspicion in the marriage. If you have secrets, things that you have kept to yourself, you've not told anybody, now will be the time to let him or let her know what has happened in your life before. Things like decisions you made that didn't work out well, things like health problems, things like mental problems, okay, things like criminal records, things like issues, sexual issues, whatever it is, debts, causes, whatever it is that has happened in your past, or a secret that you've kept, please do let the person know. Especially maybe if your father or your mother cursed you, or somebody who you offended cursed you, let them know so that they know what they are walking into. So it's important they know what they are walking into. If you have drug issues, you have some form of addiction, let him know, let her know. This will save both of you a whole lot of problem, so that your marriage will not be a marriage that was born on deceit, a marriage that whose base, whose foundation is deceitful. All right, so it's important you let him or her know before you get married. Key issues you need to discuss. This is important. Discuss it before you get married. All right, number 6. Number 6 thing you need to discuss before you get married to the one you love is your vision and your purpose. Your vision and your purpose. A lot of people mix it together. They say, oh, it's almost the same thing. But I like to tell you that your vision is where you want to go to, and your purpose is why you exist. So that's the clearest and simplest form of definitions I can give to you. Your purpose is why do you exist? Why are you here on earth? What are you here to do? Your vision is who are you going to become? Where are you going to go to? Where are you going to reach? What is your focus? So your vision and your purpose are things you really, really need to discuss with this person that you love, so that if he or she is anti your vision or anti your purpose, or their own vision is anti your vision or anti your purpose, you would halt that relationship on time. Imagine you share your vision with somebody and the person say, no, I don't believe in this vision. That is a sign that you're ultimately going to fail in that relationship. So, and you wouldn't want that. So please start on time. Let him know what your vision is. Let her know what your purpose is. Let them know what you are walking into, what you see in your dream, what you believe in. It's important, so that if they don't believe in it, because a vision against another vision in marriage will cause division. A vision in another vision in marriage will cause what? Division. And you don't want division in your marriage. You begin to have a lot of issues and incompatibility cases because you did not share these things on time. So please, beyond sharing I love you, you're the mosquito in my net, and all of those funny and nice things that you say when you're in love, please, it's important that you discuss what is truly important. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people, while they are in a relationship, instead of discussing these things, because the time for courtship and the time for dating and courtship are times for these questions. There are times when you should ask relevant questions. But unfortunately, many young people use those same times to begin to sleep with themselves, discover their sexuality and the rest of that. But in all honesty, that is not what you should be doing during your dating and your courting days. And because many do not know what they should be doing during their dating period, they end up in a terrible marriage because they don't know what they are supposed to do in the first place. I pray that you'll be able to make the right decisions and discuss these key things so that you'll be able to have a very beautiful and sweet marriage. So I want to ask you, why are you here on earth? What is your purpose? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? These are your vision. So please, it's important that you share this vision. All right, let him know what your expectations are. Let her know what your expectations are. Let him know what your future plans are. Very, very important. All right, let him know things that you want to see in your life. Let her know things you want to expect, that you expect in your life, so that there won't be unrealistic expectations inside the marriage. These are things you need to discuss even before you get married. So ask him, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And let her answer the same way. Okay, and let him answer the same way, because it's important when you do these things, you'll be able to know what this person is thinking and what will likely happen in the future. Truth be told, people can change. People will eventually not keep to their words. But when you discuss in the first place, you stand a stronger chance to achieve your dreams. I've told people a lot. I've seen people get married to somebody who is, I've told young guys, if you want to marry somebody you love where they are going to. All right, I know of a guy who went to marry an actress who acts movies, and then as he married her, he told her she has to stop acting movies. And the question is, why is that so? This is her career, this is her future, this is her dream, this is what she's been working on and she's been dreaming all the days of her life. If you don't want to marry an actress, why not just go and look for another woman entirely? Why did you have to marry this one and destroy her dream and destroy her vision? That's not fair. It's not right by any standard. So if you don't want to marry an actress, please look away from all the fine actresses you are seeing and go and look for somebody who is not on the television screen. Don't marry somebody and stifle their dream. Don't marry somebody and stifle their vision. It will make them unhappy, cantankerous, and resentful. And at the end of the day, this person begins to fight you as if you are the devil. Meanwhile, both of you are supposed to hold hands together and fight the devil, who is the true distraction in your relationship. So please be careful and be watchful and do what is right. The next key thing you need to discuss before you get married to the one you love, number seven is your conflict resolution practices. I also have a video on conflict resolution, so I may not be able to spend much time on this conflict resolution. If you want the link, just ask for the link for the message on conflict resolution and I will send it right straight away to you. Alright, so discuss your conflict resolution practices. When we get angry, how do we react? How do we express our anger? When we get angry, what is it okay to do? How do we handle our misunderstanding? What should we do? Should we discuss it immediately? Should we discuss it later? What time is best to discuss our issues? And when the issue comes to the point where both of us cannot handle it, who do we talk to? Have somebody beforehand that you can say, my wife, if anything happens and you think I'm not getting you, I'm not understanding you, and then you need somebody to talk to, this is the person you talk to. And when you talk to this person, I will always listen to this person. Same goes for the wife. It's important that everyone has somebody they are accountable to, and somebody that is respectful, unbiased, that you can talk to in your relationship. Please, I want to plead with you. If you make those kind of people your father or mother, what happens that they would always be biased. Your father would always be on your side, your mother would always be on your side, and definitely they'll be against the person you are married to. So please make sure you have somebody you guys can really communicate with without the person being biased, and the person will listen out and make sure the person guides you appropriately. All right, I can recommend your pastor if he's having a good marriage, and if your pastor is not having a good marriage, please look for somebody else, because no one can give what they don't have. Can you say it together with me? Nobody can give what they don't have, so you can only give what you have. All right, so it's important you discuss family relationship with the extended family what are the boundaries of your sister and your brothers in the home? What are the boundaries of your father and your mother in your home? Don't let them take over your home. They have lived their own lives. They have enjoyed their own marriage. Don't let them mess yours up. All right? So it is your own chance to live a marriage. It's your own chance to live your own life. Take advices from them. Advices are so important. Don't ignore their advices, but don't let them run your home. They have run theirs. It is time for you to run your own home. That is why you cannot afford to allow family interferences in your marriage. Advice is good. They would always, because they have the experience, they've seen things. When they give you the advice, pass it through the filter of God's word and do just what is right. So don't let them possess or dominate your home. Let them have their own place respectfully. Don't look down on them, don't despise them, but at the same time be in charge of your home and be in charge of your decisions. When God came and saw the pitiable situation in the garden, God said to Adam, Adam, where are you? What have you done? He seemed to have forgotten Eve, who actually took the fruit and ate, because the authority for headship he gave was already given to man. He was supposed to take his place, but he did not take his place. So it's important that we take charge of our homes and do what is very right to do. The next thing we have to discuss with the one we love before we get married is about children and child training. Children and child training. It is important that you discuss about your children. You might be saying, oh, that's too early, but see, if you don't plan well, then you plan to fail. It's important that you plan ahead of time. It's important that you plan well. I've told you in my previous videos about a certain man whose great-grandfather gave birth to only one child and only one son, who was his grandfather, and his grandfather gave birth to one child and just one son, who is his father, and his father gave birth to him, and he happens to be the only child and the only son of his father. Now this young man gets married to a beautiful lady who just wants to have 3 children, and then they get married, and into the marriage they begin to have issues. This lady wants to give birth to just 3 children and further her career, but the man is insisting they have at least 7 children, like the captain in Sound of Music. Now you wouldn't really blame the young man, because he is coming from somewhere and he already has a notion in his heart. He had not had a large family, and he assumed that his wife was going to be the child producing factory that would do what his great-grandfather could not do, what his grandfather could not do, and what his father could not do. So he got married to this lady with a lot of expectations and a lot of children in mind. This lady, on the other hand, came from a large family. She wants to keep her family small. And you see, if you say, I don't want to discuss certain things like this before marriage, that, oh, it may be unholy, oh, it's not necessary, it may be like going too fast, listen to me, it will eventually cause a lot of problems in your marriage. So it's important you discuss what number of children do you want to have. Very important. Discuss it, talk about it. It may look flimsy, it may look funny, but just talk about it. What are the number of children you want to have? You might be surprised. You may be the one that is saying 3, and he may be the one saying 7. The case may be, she may be the one saying 7. So it's important that we know, so that we don't enter into marriage with unrealistic expectations. Now it's important also that you agree and discuss with the person you want to marry about child discipline. A lot of people believe that if you must train your child. I know of a particular man, he broke the son's head, and the wife was so bitter and pained about it, and they came to my office for counseling. I asked the man, why did you have to get to the point of breaking this child's head? He said that when his uncle broke his head, that was the moment he transformed in school and started learning, understanding what his teachers were teaching him in school. So he just intentionally broke the child's head with hope that the same thing that happened to him through the uncle's hand will also happen to his child. And I don't know what level of mindset that is, but it's terrible. There is no child that gets brighter or more intelligent because their head were broken by an uncle. I guess what just happened is that because his head was broken, he stayed in one place, and staying in one place, he was able to concentrate more and learn a bit more. I think that might be the only reasonable thing that might happen. Not that the head got broken and there was bandage on the head before he now became intelligent. There is no correlation between a broken head and intelligence. Me, I'm intelligent and nobody had to break my head. Alright, so it's important that we understand, because people are coming from different places, and because of their different backgrounds and their different experiences and their different temperaments, they tend to act differently. Every person you see is a product of their backgrounds, experiences, and temperaments, and that is what makes them act the way they do. So it's important you discuss the number of children. It's also important you discuss how to discipline your children. It's also important that you discuss when to start having children. A particular lady, this lady was also an actress, and she said she had a career, she had a vision for where she'll be in Nollywood for the next 5 years, and because of that she couldn't have children after her marriage, and it became a big matter. The man said, I married you so I can have children. The lady said, no, I married you so I can be just married, I can be somebody's wife, and then after 5 years of acting I can have children. See matter everywhere. It became a serious problem. But what caused this? They did not communicate these key essential things. They did not discuss what they needed to discuss before they got married. If this lady had understood that this guy was getting married and had expectations of having children as soon as possible, possibly they would have just waited, or possibly they would have gone their separate ways. But they had a lot of issues. By the 3rd year, their marriage couldn't stand the pressure, and they had to stay apart, because beyond not having children, the lady didn't want to lose her shape. In her words, she didn't want to lose she said her standing breasts were essential for her fame in Nollywood, and because of that she could not start breastfeeding children, and so many issues came out of that. So it's important that you marry appropriately and you marry the right person, and you discuss these key things. So remember, we said that the point we are talking about is that you have agreement, you discuss on the children you're going to have and the child training methods. All right. Also discuss childcare. It took a couple, both working in a very large establishment that has its branches all over West Africa. Both of them were career people. They were projecting hard in their career. The lady was smart at her job, very good at her job. The guy also was smart at his job, very good at his job. He had a first class, she had a first class, and they were doing very well in the office. That and the encouragement and the celebration from their colleagues eventually brought them together, and they decided to get married. Now, when they got married, eventually they were excited. Everybody was happy for them. Their colleagues came, celebrated with them. But then issues started coming up after their wedding, because they had she took in almost immediately and then got pregnant. And then 3 months later, after she had delivered, she was supposed to resume work, and the husband said, no way, you're not going to resume work. Why are you going to leave our child for? I don't trust the crèche, I don't trust the nannies, I don't trust nobody, so you have to stay back home. You have to leave this job and stay and look after our child. The lady was shocked, she was confused. What do you mean by this? Both of us are soaring in our careers, we were top in our offices, and then everybody's celebrating us together. Why would you want to now make me to stay back at home and look after the child, and you continue with your work? How, in what sphere of life is this fair? And they had a lot of issues about this. So please, there are issues that can be avoided. There are conflicts that should be avoided in a relationship. So what do? Discuss these things on time. Have agreement. Two cannot work together except they be agreed. You might look at these things and neglect some of them, but they eventually rise up like monsters in the marriage to haunt that marriage if they are not taken care of. So this is very, very important and very, very vital. The 9th thing that you should discuss before you get married to the person you want to get married is related to what we just thought, but what we just talked about, but different in a way. It is called the career, job, and business expectations. Let me say it again: the career, job, and business expectations. It's possible that you already have a career before you get married, or you are about to have a career before you get married, but it's important you discuss this. What are the demands of this career? Being a traveling agent, what are the demands? Being an itinerary banker, an itinerary businessman, what are the implications? What are the demands of it in this marriage? What demands are they going to lay on the marriage? What challenges are they going to pose in this relationship? Sit down and talk about these things. Let this career, job, and business expectations be talked about and discussed. And when they are discussed, you guys should sit down and forge out plans on how to make sure that your relationship works. Ask yourself, how is it going to affect my family? How is this my career, my job, my business going to affect my family, going to affect the ones I love, going to affect the children? So it's important that you compromise where necessary. We always say that it is only in marriage that compromise is permitted. You must not win all the time. So in marriage, you either win together or you lose together. So you have to consciously make plans on how to work this things out. Ask yourself, how does this affect my family? How does this put pressure on my family? What personal sacrifices are my children going to make, our children going to make for the career I'm pursuing, for the job I am doing, for the business I am venturing into? Ask yourself, what personal sacrifices will be made by both you and by your spouse and your children in order to enable you become all that you want to be? Because there are personal sacrifices involved in every aspect of career, job, or business that you do. So it's important that you answer these questions and then figure out how to solve them. I'm not saying that when you do all of these things that issues won't still arise in marriage, but then at least to a greater extent you have been able to solve a large portion of conflict that will arise, so that you can live happily ever after and have a blissful marriage. 10 and the last thing you need to discuss in your marriage is your strengths and your weaknesses. We all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. I have weaknesses, my husband has weaknesses. I have strengths, he has strengths. It's not about the strengths or just the weaknesses. It's about us magnifying our strengths and downplaying and suppressing and working on our weaknesses, so that the weaknesses don't rise up to stop us. The weaknesses don't become stronger than our strength. That's why we have to talk about the strengths and the weaknesses. And when you know your struggles that your spouse to be is going through, you'll be able to know how to help him, you'll be able to know how to help her. So these things are very important, because you need to also ascertain their willingness to change, their willingness to change their attitude, their willingness to change from that weakness, the effort they are making to work on their weaknesses and to improve on their strengths. If you discuss these 10 things, I am sure to a large extent that you'll be able to have a very blissful and beautiful marriage. I pray that you will look through these 10 things one more time and see how it applies to your own marriage. Talk about them, discuss about them, and then work them out as it relates to you specifically. Remember, we are not all the same. What works for one will not work for all, but there are basic principles that works for all. Like when you throw something up, it must fall down. That is the law of gravity. So there are basic principles that work for everyone in a relationship, but then take these principles and put it into your own life, into your own relationship, and see how it works out well for you. So today, this is where I end on the key things you must discuss before you marry the one you love. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you will learn so much from it and you become the best version of yourself. Until we meet again, keep making positive, indelible mark in the lives of people and on the sands of time. Cheers. Love you.